on a mission, opportunity to live, give me that spaghetti. Listen, I was back in my mansion, jumping to the level of passing. Mama, you're that eager to have me.
You want some bed linen, fresh from Singapore? It's all hillbillies and rednecks down here.
Move that piece of shit off the crosswalk.
Vice City, what a town.
Underneath our lights with money in my jacket. Listen, I was back in my mansion, jumping to the level of passing. Mama, you're that eager to have me.
You want some bed linen, fresh from Singapore? It's all hillbillies and rednecks down here.
Move that piece of shit off the crosswalk.
Vice City, what a town.
Is real life the same? If I have regrets, can I hit reset and you know I'm safe? It's just a game. Is real life the same? If I connect the steps, can I jack the jet and fly away? Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, let's get it. Jump out this way and you'll regret it. Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, let's get it. Let's fight this way and I won't sweat it.
Vice City, what a town.
And we're live.
What up?
What's going
How's it
on?
going?
Same old. Living the dream, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just gonna jump in and let everyone know. Obviously, we are on Concert Junkies with Rob and John. Well, just Rob today, and of course, we've got Fonz from Heartsick, lead singer, badass, and I am Fran Savage, and you will not see me on camera. You will hear me vocally because I have a major eye infection. I'm just going to straight out say this. I have no shame. Well, I have a little bit of shame. I'm not going on camera. Okay. But I have a massive eye infection. And for those who need to learn that, yes, you can screw up your eyes if you sleep with your contacts. And I am personally living that nightmare right now. So for anyone, don't do it. You can go blind. And as a result, I am on major eye medication and I have to do 6 to 8 shots every hour. And one of them feels like you're burning a torch to your eyeball because it's a fresh infection. So that's hot. I got that going for me. So I'm staying off camera. Moving on. Thank you for being on, Fonz, man. It was nice to actually see you again. It's been years since I've seen you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I was a little late. Being an adult sucks, but whatever.
It has its benefits and more nightmares, but it's all good.
This is true.
I'm going to start off with a very hard question here.
What's up?
What do you want to leave as your legacy?
What do I want to leave as my legacy? Man, I don't actually think that's a hard question. I'm a weird person and I think about that a lot. And it's because like me and my dad used to have like a lot of conversations about like the only things that you can take with you when you die are your memories and, how much better you left the world. So I feel like I'm pretty prepared for that question. I definitely just want my legacy to be that I helped as many people and did as much good for the world as I possibly could, be it through music, be it through, helping friends, helping strangers. So I just want to leave for me, I hope that my legacy is just kindness. It's easy to sum it up in just being kind to other people.
That is awesome and beautiful.
That is.
I would say that brought a tear to my eye, but I don't know if it's you or the medicine. So, what? Just for fun, I'm going to throw in this backup question based on that question. He said, what kind of legacy would you leave? What are the two things guaranteed from the day you were born? The two things guaranteed in life from the day you were born.
That you're going to pay taxes and you're going to die straight up.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Listen, man, everything else is probably questionable, but you're definitely going to die. And you're definitely going to have to pay taxes, because I don't care where you live or what government you live under. They will fucking find you if you don't pay your taxes.
Yes, well, and even if you pay your taxes, they'll still find you and find a reason to still hit you with a tax fee.
Straight up. I'm telling you, man. I always told my friends, I was like, yo, if Saddam Hussein owed the US tax money, they would have found him like 7 years faster.
Right? That is too funny.
Because the tax man will find you quicker than any other human being can.
That is so fucking true. They would have not taken any time. And
no, I feel like paying taxes, motherfucker.
And would have saved this country billions on that search on top of that.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I'd say those are two things for sure that are guaranteed from the moment you're born. Is you're gonna, you pay taxes and you're gonna die, because the moment you're born, you're paying taxes. Like, your family is paying taxes on you in some shape, form, or way, and then like there's no guarantee that you're gonna live a long life, so it's like you're guaranteed that you're gonna definitely meet the end of the road.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate truth. Those are the only two things guaranteed in life. And if you don't live long enough to actually start paying taxes, somebody is paying for your ass one way or another.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. So I want to ask about Vice City, about that video. That is your recent video that you just released, and I believe it was December 9th. You did that a day earlier than planned, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we went on the Danny Wimmer Presents Space Zebra show, and we're friends with those guys, and they were kind enough to help us premiere the video in a non-traditional format. A lot of bands traditionally may sometimes either like premiere the video on their own, or they'll go to like, the PRP or Blabbermouth or Metal Sucks or some place that does that helps get a lot of clicks on a video. We weren't so much concerned as getting a lot of clicks on the video. I mean, I know that matters these days, obviously. Yeah. But we wanted just to have an audience to be able to see the video for the first time. And we felt that it was a cool thing to do because they were the people that helped us or let us be on the Viragos Rock Cruise that's coming up. So we won the competition for them, and we really want to work closely with them and sort of build up a really good relationship. So we reached out to them and said, hey, would you premiere our video? We know it's not traditional, but I think it'd be a cool concept. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So we premiered the video, and then we did a live stream on their show, which was cool. So yeah, that's kind of how we chose to do that.
That's pretty cool.
And that was really cool too. I mean, that video was badass.
Oh,
I mean, my first initial thought was, I don't know how you guys can have so much energy pumped when you're in, I mean, those are intense videos. I mean, obviously the music is intense, and me personally, man, I'm going to an asthma attack or, something, because you guys are just like pumped. And if you have to stop and do a retake, you got to get right back into mode, man. I would just have like a breakdown. I don't know how you guys do that.
I think all of us as a band in general have always really looked up to and liked bands that have really high energy, high sort of presence on stage, So for us, we just kind of have always drawn from that. You know, some of our favorite bands just have really intense sort of stage shows. You know, Every Time I Die, Dillinger Escape Plan, Deftones, Slipknot, you know, Mars Volta, you know, like a lot of those bands had this sort of at the drive-in. I mean, so their stage shows were just really intense, and we kind of just always drew from that. I think for us, we all grew up really liking the underground hardcore and metal scene, and you saw a lot of that, and you see a lot of that, especially in the hardcore scene. And so we kind of just sort of emulate that in our own way. It would feel foreign to not like put a lot of energy and like emotion into the performance. I feel like if you're a band that doesn't, then it just, I don't know, it doesn't come off as genuine, I guess. You know, I feel like if you're playing high energy music, then like your like attitude and your presence on stage should sort of be the same, and you should be matching that because you like believe in the songs and like all the stuff that you do with it. But I mean, you know, that's just us. I mean, it's you know, those are the emotions that we feel. Everybody feels different, you know.
Absolutely, man. So what was your influence for that song? What is the meaning of that song?
I am from Miami, Florida. Miami is something that's really special to me. It's where I grew up. Even though I was born in Puerto Rico, you know, and raised in the Dominican Republic, Miami is really where I really grew up. You know, like I was born in Puerto Rico, and then like from when I was like basically a baby till like I was 2 or 3, I went to the Dominican Republic. And then from there, we traveled a lot because my dad was in the army after that. So when we ended up in Miami, I was about 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. And I was there until I graduated high school. So that's really where I kind of really grew up and made my bones. And it's just a really special place to me. It's where I met all of my friends. It's where I learned a lot of life lessons. It's just a place that is vibrant in culture, that speaks to me, that I really resonate with till this day, even though I live in Michigan now. So it's just a song about how much I love Miami, but also a sort of tongue-in-cheek on play with the game Vice City, because the game Vice City was, you know, pretty much based about Miami in the 80s, you know, and I don't really play video games too much. Jared and Waylon, our guitar player and our bass player, play video games a lot. They're very big gamers. Our drummer Jake likes to play games, but he's more of like a mobile game kind of guy. But I'm really not a gamer at all. Like I have a PS4 and I have some games. I've been playing Borderlands 3, but I owned Borderlands 3 for like 2 years before I even started playing the game, because I just don't really have a lot of time and my attention span is like super short, you know? So, but when I was in college and Vice City came out, like I would play that game religiously. Like that game was like just the whip. And it was just like, it spoke a lot to me because like I got a lot of like the jokes in it, you know, because like I grew up in Miami and I grew up during the whole cocaine cowboy bullshit and all that. So we just threw in that sort of like fun flavor in there as well to really kind of spice up the song. And it was fun and it turned out pretty cool. You know, that's kind of where the inspiration came from.
That's definitely a badass song. But I know that in the video you revisited a Batman scene.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Like,
Because
that's you guys actually like got in the car and like we're revisiting a scene. That which Batman movie was that?
The one with Heath Ledger as the Joker. I'm so bad with movie names, but I've seen all of them. I want to say The Dark Knight was the first one, and then with Christian Bale, and then the second one, I forget the name of that one, but it's that one. It's Heath Ledger's Joker, which arguably, in my opinion, is the best Joker of all time. Like
Agreed.
People want to be like, people are like, oh, well, Jack Nicholson, he did a really good Joker, but his Joker was more like, it just fits with like the whole like Tim Burton Batman series, which I thought was great. and I would have loved to see a third Batman installment with Tim doing it. But when it comes to like Jokers, who's really nailed the psychoticness and sort of like villainy and almost like nihilistic attitude of what the Joker is in that aspect, Heath Ledger nailed it, bro. And that scene to me in that movie is probably top 10 most iconic scenes ever filmed. It's just such a gripping scene. And it's like, if you're gonna get in a car and hang out the window, you gotta recreate that scene, man. You're missing an opportunity,
Right. And that was cool as hell, though.
A follow-up question from.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Would you rather be Batman or Robin?
Oh, Batman all the way, bro. 100%. Batman, like when you read the Batman comics and you watch all the Batman like movies and shit, like what I like about Batman is that like even though there's clearly a like sort of mystery in the character, but I love that like the character really has a lot of like insular hate. Like the guy's always angry on the inside, but on the outside he functions just fine. And it's sort of like, I don't know, I've always taken the character Bruce Wayne and Batman, like Bruce Wayne is the guy that has to like do what we all do, sort of go through our lives pretending sometimes we're not having a good day and just like sort of just pretend like it's all good, like we're great, we're adults, we have to take care of business. But then Batman is like the poor where he's like, I'm gonna fuck some shit up to get rid of the stress because I can't fucking handle it right now, and he's just doing it in like a good vigilante way. So I resonate more with the Batman side, like the idea of like having a lot of internal sort of struggle and anger, but I get on stage and then like that's like my outlet, as to where Batman goes out on the street and just cleans them up and just beats the ever living piss out of all the bad guys, So I think Batman for sure. Robin, I just feel like Robin's just always in the shadow of Batman, and although I find him an interesting character, I just feel like Robin can't exist without Batman. You're always going to say Batman when it comes to Robin, but Batman can exist, period. He is the reason,
Yeah, I agree. Plus, Batman always gets the girl. He always, that's always the bonus at the end, So, for the video though, you guys just won a contest recently.
Yeah.
And is that what the video was based on?
No. So
you guys did get my vote. I voted every day.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, so I mean, I know you guys were, hitting a win. I forgot. I apologize. I forgot the full details of it. But I know, I was constantly every day. I was voting for you guys. I was like,
thank you.
What was that competition or contest for, and how'd that go about?
So basically, that all came about sort of kind of by mistake. So to really get to the end of the story, you got to start like really at the beginning. So basically what happened was my buddy who runs a podcast himself, his name is John. He has a podcast named Brutally Speaking, and John interviews a lot of people in the heavy metal world, some really big names. And he's pretty ingrained in the scene and has a lot of contacts and connections. So he sent me a message, and said, hey, and he screenshot this like thing, and it was like, submit your music to Space Zebra, Danny Wimmer Presents. And at the beginning of it, Space Zebra podcast on Twitch wasn't always on Twitch. It was just a podcast that you can find on wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts and Spotify and everything else. And it's Bobby Shapinsky, the dude who owns Blackcraft, and then Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit,
Really?
and they were doing it. Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
then it came to, they started doing it on Twitch, and that kind of blew up. So they started this contest. The first one they ever did was to pick a band, and that band would open up for Limp Bizkit in California through a series of contests of having fan votes. We entered that. That was the screenshot that he sent me. So I just submitted our band, and I completely forgot about it. And one day I get a message in my email saying that we'd been chosen. And I was like, what the fuck is this about? And I was like, oh shit, we got chosen. And they played us on the stream, and Wes Borland was like, yo, like this band is actually really sick, blah, blah, blah. Now we never won. And this band called Widow 7 won the first one, which now they're blowing up.
Okay.
And then they just kept doing these kind of contests. And we kept sort of like, we saw the potential that this had. And we were like, yo, this is actually a pretty cool format. They're only promoting unsigned bands, and they're getting a lot of viewership. And if they really like the band and they latch onto it, they're willing to, you know, put some time and effort into helping the band. So we just kind of kept submitting ourselves to all the competitions that they were having in 2021. And we would lose after like the first round because we weren't really like promoting those the way that we should have. But this Viragos thing came up, and we were like, bro, like this would be so fucking sick. And I just personally got sick and tired of losing. I was just like, this is so dumb. Like we have a really far reach. We cast a wide net as a band. Like, why aren't we like performing better in the votes? And it was because it's just all fan votes. So we just kind of like put our foot down and we're like, fuck this. And we just started like really promoting. And the prize was, if you won, you would get a slot to open on Virago's Rock Cruise, which is like Mudvayne, Rob Zombie, Fire from the Gods, Atreyu, like a really badassery collage of bands on a cruise that goes out to Belize for like a week. And we're like, dog, like this would be insane. So we like just started promoting it, and lo and behold, like I don't know. I mean, we didn't think that we could actually win. And then we started like picking up boats, and we're like, oh shit. So we really got creative with it, and we really like put our whole heart and soul and effort into the project to try and really get seen and noticed by not only more fans on Twitch and by our fans, but also by, you know, the people that do the podcast, you know, which is Bobby and Bees and Josh Balls and Jake. So, you know, we saw an opportunity to really build a relationship, one that we really need to help us, you know, get a little bit more credibility as well as get a wider net, which the show definitely has done. And we just ended up getting very lucky and working really hard and sort of pushing the promotion on that really hard. And we ended up winning. And now in February, we'll be on the Viragos cruise ship, opening for Mudvayne and Rob Zombie and a bunch of others. Sorry, my dogs are barking. But yeah, that's pretty much the story from beginning to end.
Congratulations, man. I mean, I personally
awesome.
think you guys definitely are a killer act to be added to that
Thank
onto
you.
that list. I mean, that's going to be an amazing, not just trip in general, but that would be a killer lineup to see on a cruise on top of it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, I can't believe it. It still feels like a dream, you know?
But, you know, and that's the thing is, you know, me being a promoter, and I tell bands like me, you guys need to work on promotions. You know, you can't just rely on the promoters, you know, to do it. It's about the band pushing themselves too.
For sure, absolutely. I mean, it's
promotions is huge. You know, you got to, and you know, I'm big on it. And I know Rob hears it from me every now and then. It's like push promotion. You know, especially when we have our own podcast. You know, I mean, that's that's something we need to definitely get out too. But you know, but the bands also need to represent themselves at a bigger level. You know, they need to push, and that's you did exactly what you needed to do to be heard, and that right there, that is a lesson that you need to keep and carry throughout your career because. And for you to hit that top, you need more than just the people around you to help you. It's about you guys pushing yourselves.
Exactly.
You
exactly. And we got very lucky, and and people really were drawn to it, and we wouldn't have won if it wasn't for people like you voting. Like that's really it. Like that's what it's about. So we won simply based off of the fact that like our fans went in hard, and that was dope, and that was really dope. We're really blessed on that.
I definitely agree. I think that's an amazing step, and I can so see you guys moving forward and doing some amazing things. And this is going to be probably the major step that's going to be exactly what you needed. That door opened, and you guys literally not just walked in, you kicked that shit open and said,
Yeah, man. If they open the door some more, we're gonna run in fucking guns blazing.
Mhm. That's the way to do it.
So if you could pick 5 bands to go on tour with, who would they be?
Deftones, Gojira, Every Time I Die, Poison the Well, and System of a Down.
Hell yeah.
100%.
That'd be a hell of a lineup.
Yeah, that would be an intense, dude. I would so be there. Be sure you reach out that Fran, or you in.
Thought
Get
about
in.
that question way too many times.
Well, majority of your music it is influenced from the Deftones, isn't it? I mean, they're
Yeah,
they're
I'd
really
say,
big for you guys.
yeah. So I mean, every band has their like collective influences, where like every band member has a band that influences them personally. And for us, all the bands are different. Like I'd say like our drummer Jake, he really loves Opeth. That's like his favorite band in the whole world.
Really?
My favorite band in the whole world is the Deftones. Jared, our guitar player, his favorite band is System of a Down. Waylon, one of his favorite bands ever is I want to say Knocked Loose, or like a lot of hardcore bands. So for us collectively as a band, the one band that we all agree on, we're like Deftones, and we're just all huge Deftones fans. So yeah, they definitely have a very big presence in our writing style and in how we, sort of approach writing as a band. But there's so many other bands that we listen to that's so outside of the spectrum of metal that really influence the music too. So, but yeah, the Deftones is really like number one for sure.
Yeah, and they've actually recently sent you guys a video. Did they not?
Yes.
They gave you guys a shout out and actually sent it to you.
Yeah, that was absolute insanity. So it's really funny because people were like, "Oh, did you cameo in?" And we're like, "No, motherfucker, I didn't pay money to have somebody like shout my band's name out. Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit. I'm not into that. Like we have nothing to hide like that." But no, like our buddy, his name is John, has a relationship and friends with Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones. They've been friends for many years.
Yeah.
John has been a fan of Heartsick before we were Heartsick, when we were called No Life. And John,
I remember that actually.
Yeah, right. So John has always tried to push us onto the guys in the Deftones because he knows how big of a fans we are. And with the pandemic, there was nothing really going on. So he was like, Steph doesn't have an excuse. He can probably listen. So he sent them our music when we were doing the Viragos Battle of the Bands.
Okay.
And he said, if you like it, would you mind making a video saying to vote for Heartsick? And Stefan forgot because he got busy. But a couple of days later, he sent John a video and he was like, yo, like, I'm really sorry. I just got really busy, but this band is dope. So, here you go. Let them know. And he like sent us that video. We were like, what is happening right now? It was super crazy.
It's got to be an intense feeling, to know that all your hard work is being acknowledged and you are being reached out to directly from some big names that do make a difference in your life and have influenced you. That's going to be an incredible feeling,
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, not a single one of us would have ever thought in our entire existence of being a band that like Deftones guitar player, like they would know who we are, or like know that we exist. Like that's there's no way we would have known that. And it happened. And we're just like, what is happening right now? Like just crazy shit, you know?
Definitely. I know we got a lot of people that are starting to, kind of chime in for the last 10, 15 minutes, and they're probably wondering where the hell is Fran. So I'm going to repeat briefly what I said in the middle or in the beginning. To everyone who's watching, no, you cannot see my face. I have the video turned off because I am not camera ready. I have a major eye infection, and I can't wear my contacts, and I'm on severe eye medication, and a lot of it burns. And it sucks. And do not sleep with your contacts. I am now living proof of why you shouldn't. And this is why, for those who are wondering where the hell I am at and you hear my voice, why I'm not there. So moving on. Anyway, what was this? Go ahead, John. Go ahead. Or Rob. I said John. Shit.
Wow. Okay.
Oh man.
I know, right?
So if you're on a desert island, what is your top 5 CDs to bring?
Desert Island top 5 CDs to bring of all time, or like any from when I was born to like right now?
Whatever hits home, take them.
All right. So I would say I would definitely bring Silverchair's Freak Show.
Good one.
Pantera's Far Beyond Driven. I would bring Poison the Wells, Opposite of December, Deftones, Around the Fur, and I would bring Halsey's If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. Like those
really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
That's such a good record.
No, it is. But I'm saying I wasn't expecting you to say that. Yeah,
I love that record. It's like it's really a hard like number 5 between Halsey and Churches. Like I'm just obsessed with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, super obsessed with Church's new record. It's so good. Oh my god,
that's awesome.
But those would be the 5 for sure. Of course, my mind is like no, but wait. But I'm like no, we're gonna stick with those 5.
That's awesome. So let's recently you just finished touring.
Yeah, we just got done with a tour. We were out on the road from September 19th till just about November, like right almost to the end of November. We had pretty much we're out on the road with Combi Christ, King A10, and Davey Suicide.
Oh, yeah.
And that started September 18th and it ended November 6th. And then we had a few more shows to finish up in November, and now we have some time off. We're not really playing shows until right at the middle of February, well, the beginning of February, because we have one show that we just announced in our hometown. We're trying to sort of reawaken the scene here because all of our venues closed due to COVID. So we found a place where we're trying to throw shows at. And we're having a show February 5th here in our hometown at a place called The Lounge at Royal Scott, which is Royal Scott's a bowling alley here that's really huge complex, but they have like an actual venue inside. So we're bringing all the equipment, the sound, the lights, doing a whole full production show. We haven't done a full production show in our hometown in Lansing since, I want to say, November 19th of 2019. So it'll be our first show with all of the bigger Lansing locals from here. And then we don't have anything until we start to make our way down to Virago's, the vote. So we're going to get on the boat in Miami, and then we'll be gone for like a week, going out and playing on the boat, and then going to Belize, and then we come back. And then in March, my son is born, so I'll be home pretty much all of March. And then we're looking at starting the festival circuit somewhere in May or June, one or the other, and then pretty much just fucking pedal to the metal and see what happens from now till then, you know?
Speaking of the cruise, how are you going to do your set list?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. We don't know all of the details yet, so we haven't had a formal email explaining how this is going to run, explaining like when, giving us any sort of logistics. we know that we won, we know that we're on, but there hasn't been any logistics explained to us. So we don't have a set list picked out just yet because we don't know the logistics and what we're gonna do. We don't know if we're playing a set on the way to Belize and then a set on the way back. We don't really know how this works. We've never done this. None of us have ever been on a cruise before. So that's a really good question. I would think that we're going to try and play as much of a eclectic set as we can, given the variety of bands. So we definitely want to show sort of the full spectrum of what Heartsick is. So I know we're not going to go in there and just play like every single like brutal breakdown fucking only screaming song we have, but we're definitely not going to go in there and play like every ballad that we have too. I think we're going to try and really mix it up and give sort of the full breadth of what the band really is when it comes to writing and music context.
If you get to play twice, wouldn't I would start from the beginning.
Yeah, like,
You know, like
for
your
us,
first record to now.
yeah, it just really depends how much time we have, because I don't know if they have two stages, if they have one stage. We don't know what time we would be playing. So it's still sort of up in the air, but the idea is to definitely play a few songs off of each record, like 2, and 2 to give us 30, 35, 40 minutes of a set, depending on what our set time is. Because right now, like, I have no idea how long we're playing. I have no idea what day we're playing on the boat. I have no idea, are they flying us there? Are we making our way down? Like, no clue at all. Like, we still haven't received any sort of details, but they've been busy announcing Rockville. They've been busy working on Incarceration Festival. They've been busy working on Sonic Temple. So we get it. So we really haven't pushed, and we're just kind of waiting patiently to see what they send us.
That's awesome. No, you got a hell of a plan going for the next year, man. You guys are gonna be busy as hell.
I hope that we are busy as much as possible, for sure.
And you definitely are. And you know what? You're gonna get busier and busier because your shit's gonna blow up. I'm just telling you, Fran's prediction. Those things happen. Fran's prediction. Hit that shit.
If your prediction is right, I owe you lunch and a snack.
Deal. And then I want to hold the baby. I love kids.
Yeah, no problem.
I would love to see the baby. Send me baby pictures. Congrats again to you and your wife.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. So now you and the band, I mean, you guys have been around for a while. I mean, I remember actually meeting you guys back in the Revival days.
Yeah.
The Revival. Long time ago.
Holy shit, the Revival.
Yeah. And if you can remember any of it.
I remember. Yeah. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't partake in any sort of drugs. So.
I don't remember a whole lot, but I do remember bands, even though that was before Savages existed, before anything, I was just there hanging out because, I'm friends with Frank and everyone,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, so how long you guys been around? You guys been around a while. I know that.
So the band has been around with the name Heartsick since 2014. The band has been around as three of us collectively together in the same band from day one for 21 years. Yeah. We used to be called No Life, right. KNOWLYFE.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2014, our drummer passed away.
Right.
And after his passing, we were faced with the idea of, should we change the band name? Because it's something he really wanted to do. And we sort of like juggled and struggled with the idea of changing the name, but we decided in our best interest, it was good to change the name as a way to honor him, but also to kind of get a fresh new start. So that's what we did. So the band technically has been together for 21 years, but I want to say from 2000 to 2014, we were No Life. And then from 2014 all the way till 2021, the name changed to Heartsick.
So the band's name was based off his memory.
Yeah. And
That is
yeah.
beautiful, man. That is beautiful. Mad respect for you guys on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very
Serious
much.
mad respect for that. You know, and I'm sorry for that loss. You know, but I'm sure he's watching. You know, throwing lightning bolts, saying "hit that shit." You know, kicking you in your ass too. You know?
I hope so. I hope so.
So that's fucking that explains that. I was gonna ask how the name came up too. So you just rolled right into that. That eliminated the
Yeah.
question. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem.
So, you know, I know the whole band isn't present. You know, I understand life happens, you know, and I say that all the time to people, especially now. You know, people, everything's chaotic. You know, every day
Yeah.
something different is definitely being changing, you know, with COVID and, you know, the COVID shit life. you know,
Yeah. Fuck, man.
that's pretty much what's happened. But, I mean, you guys have been around a while. And I know you can't totally speak for speak for the rest of the band, you know, band members, but maybe you know a little bit of something about it. You know, is music something that's been in your family, or are you just that lucky one that just got, you know, that just grabbed that talent?
No, so I wouldn't say like anybody in my family that I know of directly, like my mom, my dad, were ever musicians. My dad was just a really big like metal rock fan when he was growing up, but you know, he was like, for him it was like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and then he really loved blues as well. So Stevie Ray Vaughan, Muddy Waters, stuff that I really grew up listening to with him. So he was just always drawn to rock and roll. My mother was always drawn to Hispanic music, and music in the Dominican Republic, same as in Puerto Rico, was a big deal. So she was always really into music and loved discovering new music and dancing, but they weren't really musicians. My sister is an actress, and I came out a musician. And I think that was because of my parents, like, sort of instinctual interests, but they never actually like were musicians. So it's just something I gravitated towards because my parents always sort of shoved it in my face in some form or fashion with like listening to music. Like music was a really big deal in our household. We always listened to some form of music, be it rock, be it metal, be it hip hop, be it Spanish, contemporary, salsa, merengue, or being musicals. Like it was always music in my house for sure.
So that is part of the influence of what gravitated you towards the music industry. Then you were just always surrounded by it.
Yeah, I was definitely always surrounded by it. And then when my best friend in middle school and then high school started to pick up a guitar, I, of course, was like, well, I guess I got to play guitar now. And I started teaching myself how to play guitar, and it just kind of like spiraled way out of control from there. And then I caught the bug. So,
It becomes an addiction.
yeah,
It's a vice, and a vice you never want to let go again.
yeah, for sure.
What was your first guitar?
So I grew up in poverty. I grew up pretty poor. My parents couldn't really afford to buy like anything. So my first guitar that I ever learned on was a cheap, I don't, it wasn't even a brand. It was like my dad was working in a mental health, and the hospital he was working at was getting rid of some musical equipment to make room for new. And he brought home this 6-string nylon classical guitar. And it didn't have a name. It was just like a classical guitar. He's like, you want to learn guitar? Here you go. You got one. And I just started learning guitar on a nylon guitar string. First
Still have it?
bass. I don't have it. My parents ended up getting divorced, and somewhere in the divorce or something, it got lost. I don't even remember what the hell happened. But like when the moving people fucked it up, I think is what happened, which is fine. It's whatever. But my first bass was a Fender Squire Mexican bass.
Wow.
And I saved up my lunch money every single day. My freshman year in high school, I would get $20 a week to last me for the week for lunch at my high school. And I saved up $20 every week from the beginning of January. No, from August to the next Christmas, on top of saved my birthday money and saved my Christmas money, and worked like under the table jobs as like a 15, 14-year-old, and saved up all of my money. And I bought myself a bass and a bass speaker amp and a Galen Kruger uh, bass amplifier. So I bought myself a Fender Squier bass, 4-string P bass, precision bass. I bought a PV 118 cab from like 1980 something, and then a Galen Kruger 400-watt head. And I specifically remember, so this was back before the internet existed in 1995, when it was just, when there was like 6 websites basically. And I specifically remember picking up the, I forget what it was called, but it was like a magazine that people would sell their shit on,
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember what dollar deal or something like that.
Penny Saver.
Something like that. Yeah. It was published all over the United States, right? Everybody had one in their respective state. It may have a different name, but everybody essentially had the same shit. And I went through this book and I went to where it said like a musical instrument section. And I found a dude who was selling a bass and an amp and a head. And I fucking went with my dad and he drove me all the way down to like Kendall or some shit. And we picked up this amp in my dad's like shitty car. And this cab was huge. It was like one of those like old school PV cabs. PV just didn't understand the concept of like making things smaller. And we shoved it in like this Geo Metro that my dad and my mom had and fucking brought it home, dude. And I slept with my bass for like a week in my bed. I literally slept with my bass like if it was like a pet. And I just locked myself in my room every single day for like 6 months straight, just learning how to play.
That was your comfort blanket.
Yeah, 100%.
What was the first song you learned?
Whole doll parts.
Really?
First song I ever learned on guitar.
No kidding.
Doll parts. Easiest fucking song in the world.
Really?
First song I ever learned. Yep. Whole doll parts. My best friend Vinny back home taught me how to play it.
That's awesome. I was not expecting to hear that.
I wasn't either. I was expecting like.
I absolutely love her to death. I don't know where the hell she's been, but I hope she's doing good. But just was not expecting to hear Whole.
I was expecting Smoke on the Water or Metallica.
No. I never, bro. I'll be honest. I never learned any of the traditional songs on guitar ever or bass. Like I learned how to play whole doll parts, and then I gravitated and graduated to like learning how to play like Little Things by Bush and Everything Zen. Yeah. And then I learned a couple Nirvana songs, but then like Deftones and Korn and shit hit. And I was just like, I learned how to play like every Deftones song I ever could. I, till this day, cannot play a single fucking Metallica song.
What?
At all.
Really?
I've never learned any Metallica song in my life. Never. Well, the reason why I never really learned how to play other people's songs, like if you give me a guitar and you sit me in front of a speaker, I'll figure out the song. I'm sure I could learn it. I'm just too lazy to do it. But I learned how to play guitar with like some grunge bands and then all Deftones songs. But I never got past any of that because my sister had a boyfriend who was like a metalhead and he was like in a band. And I just thought he was the coolest fucking dude in the world. Mind you, this was like the early 90s, you know? So this was like when Pearl Jam was huge. So this dude was like your quintessential like metalhead with like, you know, like the combat boots and the shorts, you know, and like the fucking shaved sides head, you know, like what was, you know, 9 Inch Nails, like shit, that's what he was into, you know? And this dude, like, I just thought he was the coolest dude in the world. He was like, you know, I don't know why I thought this was the best advice in the world, because looking back, it's probably terrible advice. But he was like, you know, if you really want to excel and be your own sort of guitar player, you really shouldn't focus on learning other people's songs. You should learn how to like make your own songs. And I was like, that's so cool. And that's what I did.
So you write all your own music?
Yeah. I till this day, I have no idea how to play like anything outside of the Deftones or like 90s, like popular 90s grunge songs. Like I like for sure I can play like a Green Day song. I can play like a fucking Foo Fighters Everlong, I think. And I can play like Nirvana, a couple Nirvana songs, and then I can play like a shitload of Deftones songs, and I don't know shit after that. I just play my own shit. Like I never learned how to play other people's songs.
You know what? With mad respect to everyone who's an original artist. I mean, you know, cover bands are great. You know, a lot of people start out by learning songs like that. You know, I mean, that's how a lot of people start. But when you go your own route and you start creating your own music based on your own experiences and everything that's going around you, that's what grabs my attention, is the original artist more than anything.
Yeah, like he just said something that struck me, you know, and I was like, well, I need to learn how to just play chords and place like chord structure, you know, and what the notes are. And once I learned a few songs, I was like, oh, cool. Like, and I just started writing my own shit. Like, it's just what it was, you know?
Did you always know you were going to be a singer?
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100%. When I was in first grade in Puerto Rico, when I was like 5 or some shit, 4 or 5, my music teacher, or my teacher in general, because they just taught, like one teacher just taught everything down there. And I specifically remember this. They said they were asking everybody what they wanted to be when they grew up. And when they got to me, they asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a singer. And I've just always, I was going to be 3 things. I was either going to be a singer, a doctor studying oncology, or a veterinarian. Like those were the 3 things I was going to be. Like there was nothing else I wanted to do. I was like, I either want to be a singer, a veterinarian, or a doctor. Done. Like, you know, and I got to Michigan State. I did well in high school, got accepted to the pre-med program at State. And then they said that I had to be like in calculus 4 by like my junior year. And I was like, that's not fucking happening. I'm terrible at math. Tested into like, when I got into college, I tested into like the dumbass math, like the math below, like the math I tested into was the math they don't give you credit for. That's how dumb the math I had was. And I was like, you expect me to dig myself out of dummy math all the way to calculus 4 by my junior year while I'm trying to do like organic chemistry and fucking normal, like all these weirder classes? I was like, that's fucking crazy. I'm not doing that shit. So I changed my major to like comm arts, and I just did comm arts, you know? And then I started like, I was like, my first band, I was like 14 in high school, and that band was like lasted for like 4 or 5 years. I till this day still believe that my first band ever has the best band name in the history of local band names. I will die on that hill.
Which is
Hardcore Jalapeno.
That's great. That is fucking awesome. And what kind of music did you guys play?
We were like a early 90s like metal grunge band. Like our favorite bands were like fucking Silverchair, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Korn, Deftones, and Green Day. So we were like this weird like metal band of like Hispanic dudes. And of course, like we put in like Hispanic shit into it too. But yeah, we were like a heavy band. You can actually find my high school band's music right now on Reverb Nation.
What?
No shit.
Swear to God.
How the hell did it end up on Reverb?
Because we changed the band name from Hardcore Jalapeno to Wasted Circle. So Not a better band name, by the way, by any means. We thought we upgraded. We're like, oh, the band name's too stupid. How about Wasted Circle? Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, you can still hear my first band's music on Reverb Nation right now. I swear to God.
That is
And
funny.
I'm the bass player in that band, and it's
I am
called
still gonna look
Wasted
into that.
Circle.
That's funny as hell.
So if you want to hear what it was like, you can look it up. Wasted Circle, 2 words.
That is funny.
I'm gonna have to look at that later.
I'm writing this down.
Look it up. It's and not because I was in the band, but I go back and listen to it, and it's really not bad. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good for some high school kids, recording on DAT.
That is funny. Wasted Circle.
Yeah. Not a better band name than Hardcore Jalapeno.
Yeah, that's just great. I mean, Hardcore Jalapeno. That's funny as hell. So you got anything? So I mean, shit, you pretty much lined us up with everything you got coming up. You just, about like every other month, you guys are doing something intense, and it's going to start with the baby coming soon.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said you're gonna have a hell of a schedule, man, and you have like every month something new is happening. You got the baby coming in a couple months. You guys are on break for the holidays, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, like, even though we don't have a lot of shows coming up within the next 2 months, we just stay really busy, So we have, like I said, we have the boat coming up, the show on the cruise, but that's pretty much like right in the middle of February. We have the one show starting in Lansing on the beginning of February. But then besides that, we're working on, we just shot the music video for Vice City back in the summer, in like June, I think, is when we shot that video. And then we just finished shooting another video for another new song right at the end of November. And then we're shooting 2 more videos for 2 new songs right at the end of February. So we're busy with all of that right now. On top of, we go back into the studio to record 2 new songs in the middle of January. So we stay busy. We definitely stay busy.
And that's good. Now, the album you have out right now is the 2nd album. Are you guys working on a 3rd anytime soon, or is that put off still for a little while?
So what we have right now is we have 3 records out right now. We have our first release, which was just self-titled Heartsick.
Mm-hmm.
The second release was called Sleep Cycles. That came out in 2019. And then we have our 6-song EP that just came out it came out, I believe, last year. No, it came out this summer. Yeah, it came out in the summer. And that's called Cinco. And that's a 6-song EP. And then we have another like 16 songs recorded, but we're sort of kind of wondering if we just want to hold on to those and just keep releasing singles until we build up enough, hype, and maybe figure out what we're going to do, what comes next after the cruise, to either release them, just keep releasing music as singles, or release it as another EP, or release an entire record. We don't really know, but we definitely have a very, very large catalog of songs. By the time that 2020 ended, we already had about 13 songs recorded. And by the end of this year, we have already 21 songs, and we're recording 2 more. So, and we've released 6 songs. So we have a lot of music, a lot of new music to release. We're just sort of planning on what we want to do. So we've stayed busy this whole time. A lot of bands during COVID kind of just, stayed in a hermit state. Some went to record. We stayed active. We did like 4 streams. We did a couple of private house shows. We did a new CD release. We did a vinyl release. We did an EP release. So yeah, we stayed busy for sure.
Let's go.
So how do you choose the names of your records or CDs? Or
That's a good question. So for this 6 song EP that we just released called Cinco, that was our guitar player. He was just like, wouldn't it be funny if we did like an EP with 5 songs and called it Cinco, like in Spanish? And I was like, that's pretty clever. And we were like, yeah, that's fine, but let's just add one more song. So that's how we came up with that name. Sleep Cycles, the name for the record Sleep Cycles. That name came about because I was having like a lot of like anxiety during 2019, and I started like therapy, and then I got really into like reading. Well, 2018 actually, because we recorded it in 2018, released in 2019. But I was reading a lot of like stuff on like night terrors and like fucking where like you're like sleeping but you're awake and you're having like a vivid dream,
Mhm.
So that was just a really interesting concept to me, and I just approached the guys and I was like, what would you think of naming the record Sleep Cycles, during the cycles that you're trying to fall asleep but you're sort of awake and dreaming and stuff. They're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So we just named it that. And then the record before that, which was the self-titled, we chose just self-titled Heartsick because it was the way to introduce the band to everybody again. We were No Life. We felt that if we did like Heartsick and added a name to the record, it may draw away from getting people used to just calling us Heartsick instead of No Life. So we just went with Heartsick.
That's cool. So I love asking this to everyone. Some fun, obviously some little random fun questions. What is your most embarrassing moment on stage?
Most embarrassing moment on stage just happened. We were doing a live stream for DW Presents Space Zebra that we just did last Thursday, the 9th of December. And right at the first song on national fucking broadcast on the internet, on Twitch, with like God knows how many fucking thousands of people watching, I bent over and my fucking shorts ripped right down the crack of my pants.
Well, now, were you facing the camera, or did it happen?
I was not facing the camera. Luckily.
Okay, now that would have been even more classic.
I hit it, and nobody noticed except the people that were helping us stream it from our end. And I just called myself out on it because it was so funny to me. That's never happened in my life, and it was so embarrassing.
That's funny as hell.
On stage, like in the history of this band, that was like the most embarrassing. I've ripped my pants before. I ripped my pants only one other time, but not on stage. This was when I was in high school and I was on my cheerleading squad, and I ripped my pants doing some flips, and that was embarrassing.
You know what?
But this definitely takes the cake.
The guys on the cheerleading squad, man, props to you guys, man, because that shit is tight. I mean, we have, from a women's standpoint, we loved watching, just like we love watching football, tight pants.
Oh, dude, I was all in, man. I was all about cheer. I love cheerleading. I was actually cheerleading coach for after I graduated high school. I was a coach for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and in high school, I did competitive cheer and like just like the shit that you see like on TV on ESPN, like throwing the girls up, doing a bunch of flips, like holding them in one hand. Like I did all that shit. I was all about it.
How many girls have you dropped on your head?
I've dropped a lot of fucking girls on my head, and that shit hurts. If you've ever taken an elbow by a girl coming down, spinning in what's called a fool at full speed, and you take a fucking elbow to the side of your eye, dude, if you don't split your eye, you hate life. It hurts so bad.
I can imagine.
You
I've
know?
always wondered that. I've seen you guys. How you got to take all that weight, and a lot of times you got to catch them with one hand.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I always get really mad till this day when they don't call cheerleading a sport. I'm like, fuck off.
It
Have you
is
ever
an
done
abusive
cheerleading?
sport, man.
Shit's hard as
It's
shit.
very active. I think it should be. It's extremely active and very dangerous. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
Competitive cheerleading is crazy, man. Super
yeah.
crazy. And I was all about it. I love that shit. If I could still do it, I would. It was super fun.
Are you a gymnast?
I used to be. I mean, when you do cheerleading and you're a guy, and you're on a co-ed squad, you're pretty much required to do a lot of tumbling.
Yeah.
So I had to go and learn how to tumble in gymnastics. So I did some gymnastics, learned how to like do backflips, front flips, fulls, and all that other stuff, halves and all that good stuff. So I did take some gymnastics too because of that, because when you're doing cheerleading, you have to incorporate it into the sport. So yeah,
Right.
so I definitely took some gymnastics. Now I never did like the rings or the pavel, none of that stuff. I mean, when I was a kid, my parents put me in gymnastics when I was living in Germany because my dad was in the army, and gymnastics is like a big deal in Europe. So I did gymnastics there, and I was like learning the pole vault and stuff, but I never did anything to that degree with gymnastics. But then when I started cheerleading, I did get into gymnastics for a little bit to learn how to tumble and stuff like that. And then when I went to state, I took a gymnastics class because I knew that I could fucking pass it with ease because I already was able to do like a bunch of flips and shit. So
Can you still do them?
With a spotter, I'm sure I could, but it's been so long. See, like, here's the thing. Like, doing all that acrobatic shit is actually really easy. It's all just simple physics. Wherever your head goes, your body follows. Like, if I push your head backwards, you're going to fall back no matter what. If I put your head to the side, it's your center of gravity. It's your center of balance, right? So your whole body moves. It's the fear of going backwards because your body doesn't think that that's normal, right? Like that's not a natural thing. Like humans weren't born doing backflips out of the womb and shit, right? So
that'd be funny though.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. So really the hard part is getting over the fear. So I know I can see it in my mind's eye. I can picture myself doing it, but falling because I haven't done it so long is the scary part. And you fall because you don't think you can do it. So I know that if I had somebody spotting me, I would get over the fear like that and then just keep doing it and I get over it. But to go out on the road right now and do like a fucking, running back handspring, like, yeah, that probably won't happen without somebody there to spot me. But take me to the trampoline park. Oh, fuck yeah, I'll do that shit all day long.
Next music video, trampoline park.
Say what?
Next music video, trampoline park.
That would be hilarious.
Right?
Hilarious.
And I want to see you do a backflip in the next video or next show.
I
want you to rip your pants in the process.
I always love like when bands like Story of the Year, like Dillinger Escape Plan would do like backflips and stuff and shit on stage. That shit was amazing. I wish I still had the confidence to do it. And I've contemplated like going to take gymnastics classes again, just so I'd be able to do that again,
That'd be crazy to see, be on stage and you just get that moment where you're just so pumped into your music and you want to do a backflip and you just flip and you do a backflip into the crowd, just do a double spin and just drop and just keep singing. That would be some killer shit to see. So if you can pull that off, let me know.
I definitely will.
So this is the part that I normally have the guests flip it on us. Do you have any questions for us?
Shit, man, I'm terrible at asking questions. I guess I there's a lot that I don't know about the podcast. So like, what was the motivation to start the podcast?
On my end or her end? This is your show. You answer that. My show. He can ask me that next month.
Okay, that's fine. Well, conversation started at a karaoke bar. And here I am 3 years later.
Just kept going with it.
Yeah.
Awesome. The conversation never stopped.
All right. Well, that just triggered my question. Then, Rob, You said it started in a karaoke bar. How did that
Yeah.
start? Did somebody bring it up to you that you should do it, or is it something you just mentioned? Maybe that's something you'd be interested in.
Somebody brought up to me that I should start doing this.
And you just said, "Fuck it, why not?"
Yeah, one day I did. Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice. And then I guess another question I have is, but I guess you answered it. You said the podcast has been around now for 3 years.
Yep.
Cool. And do you just strictly stick to speaking to musicians in the rock world, or you just have conversations with anyone or everyone that you think you find interesting or may have something to talk about?
I do all music actually.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the only thing I stay away from is K-pop, but everything else, if you're if you're interested and talk to anybody about any type of music.
Cool. Very cool. Who are some of your favorite bands?
Top is Korn.
Okay.
My first CD ever was, what do you call it? Pearl Jam 10.
Yes.
I literally listen to everything. So if you ever looked at my CD collection, you'd be confused, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I can totally relate. When people see my CD collection, they look at me dumbfounded. They're like, "What the fuck?" I grew up, I grew up in a family where my parents are from Italy.
Nice.
Yes.
What part?
They're from Bari.
Nice. My family's from Sicily. My dad's side is from Sicily.
Oh yeah, both of my parents. They're from the town of Bari.
Cool.
But so South Side. But but I'm first generation here, and I should speak the language fluently. I am the failure in the family.
You never learned, huh?
My dad actually grew up in the south, towards Chicago. He grew up on Taylor Street. He came here when he was 6. Mom didn't come here until she was 20. So dad thinks American, but was raised old school Italian.
Gotcha.
Whereas mom was raised to be the obedient Italian, housewife, this and that. Your daughters are supposed to be, obedient and do everything they're told and said. And then she had, and then they had me. That was like the rudest wake up call for them. But my dad was actually the manager of like a basic rock and roll band in the early 60s, and they played anything from Chubby Checker, maybe a couple of Beatles songs, kind of thing. Whereas my mom is all Italian music, but there are a couple of musicians in my family on the Italian side. My mom's second cousin, his name was Nino. My brother was named after him. Was in a very famous band in Italy back in the 50s called it's spelled, I don't know how to pronounce it in Italian, but it's spelled I Dick Dick. I don't know to this day.
Say what?
It's literally IDIK. And it was a really famous band. And the drummer was my mom's second cousin, so my third cousin. So that there are a few musicians on my mom's side, but they're like distant kind of thing. My brothers were professional breakdancers for Chicago.
That's sick.
And so I grew up with a lot of hip hop. And then my one brother was really big into stuff like Stevie B, the original freestyle.
Okay.
Original freestyle music. So I grew up with a lot, like Lisa and the Cult Jam, shit like that. I mean, and then I started, I was huge on fucking what is her name? Paula Abdul. I was obsessed with Paula Abdul when I was 10. And I was like, I want to dance like that. And I learned how to dance. And by the time I was 12, 13 years old, I wasn't allowed at school dances because they said I was too sexual for my age. And I learned how to master my hips very well. So I'll dance half the strippers everyone knows today. Guaranteed. I still can. But I started going metal on my own the first time I heard Metallica.
Nice.
Yeah. And, I was already listening to Q101, which is a big, Chicago metal station at the time. It was around for a while, where he had Man Cow and all them, Man Cow Moller and shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And,
back.
So the late 80s, early 90s and shit, of course I was hearing, Ozzy and shit like that through their station. But the first time I heard Metallica's One.
Love that song.
That was the first time I locked and said, what the fuck is this? and that was it. That was it. I wanted to know more. And then when I was 16, I met my first ex-husband. I have a list going.
I have a list going.
Yeah, I'm over 2. But he was 10 years older than me. Yes, I just admitted he was a pedophile. And he introduced me to Slayer.
Oh,
That was the beginning. And done after that. Slayer, as everyone knows to this day, I'm obsessed with fucking Slayer. Still to this day. And it just triggered everything. And
that's awesome.
yeah, I'm very, very musically well-rounded, But,
Good.
Once I got to high school, that was it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, those are the questions I have, man. I mean, those are the things that I was definitely like when I thought about, I find that interesting for sure.
That's awesome. All right. So if fans wanted to reach out to you, like what are different links and web pages that you're a part of? Where can they reach out to you?
The easiest way to go about reaching out to the band in general is just go to our website, heartsick.us. But you can also reach us through any of our social medias if you just feel like going specific to one specific social media page.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, it's Heartsick Band. Facebook, it's Heartsick Band. Reverb Nation, it's Heartsick Band. Bandcamp, it's Heartsick Band. YouTube is the only one that's Heartsick Official.
Official, yep.
So besides that, if you just want to go to our website, heartsick.us, that'll take you to everything and anything.
And you can also go to Reverb Nation for hardcore jalapenos.
Well, no, Wasted Circle now. Wasted Circle.
Now it's Twisted Circle. Yeah, that's awesome. Wasted Circle, that's a great name too. That's cool. Rob, got anything else?
Actually, no. I'm just going to thank you for your time of coming in, and I want to wish you a happy holidays and blessed New Year.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Same to you guys. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you celebrate with family and you have a lot of fun. Enjoy, all the time that's about, this season and be positive and just have a good time. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. I love doing this stuff. It's really fun. I love having conversations. I'm a chatty Cathy. So, anytime you guys want me back, I'm be more than happy to. So thank you very much for having me. Both of y'all be safe. Have a good holiday, eat a lot, and enjoy your new year, okay?
Absolutely, man. You too. And again, blessings to you and your family.
Thank you to you as well. You guys
and
be
also
safe.
To the band, keep killing that shit and taking over, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We will definitely do that. You guys take care, okay?
You too. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.